Hello, welcome again. So last time we covered the basic of MidiGyver, which is this little app that receives MIDI events from any device and will export OCC events for you. And we saw that you use a YAML file to map those keys and the values coming from those keys to a scalar, or it could be a button or a toggler button. We also learn about mapping. So there is like a mapping state where you can like set up the range. So we grab our scalar that was going to between 0 and 127, and we remap it to go between 0 and 1. And then we grab one of the toggle buttons and we map it, the on state, to a specific command to say through OCC. And when you press it again, it will toggle, it will turn off, and that will map. It will send through the map. It will send a command through OCC, and the commands that we have been sending are especially formatted to be received by GlSLViewer, which is we set up to listen into the port 8000 on the OCC protocol, and we were able to control those a shader with it. So today I want to take this a little further and show you how there's other values that also you can be sending, not just scalars or commands. So without further ado, let's jump into code. So the first things I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy. We're gonna copy the previous examples. So we have the frag. We're gonna call this test1, and we're gonna copy also the YAML file, and we're gonna copy this to YAML1. So now when you clone the repository, you will be able to see these examples in the same order that you're seeing here. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to prepare our shader to receive, let's start better in the MIDI configuration. So we're going to open this, the YAML file. We're going to do test01 YAML, and so we have here the scalar that we were mapping before, which is this one, and we are going to add a new one, map key1. I'm gonna put this aside for a second, and basically we're gonna copy exactly where we have here. And key number 1, we're gonna call this position. So we're gonna start interpolating between positions, which is a vector. So we're gonna call U vector. The type is gonna be vector, and here in the map we are gonna put an array, and these arrays we're gonna be able to set up a vector. So we're going to start with 0, 0, and then we can go to 1, 1. But, and also I want to show you that when you are doing a map, you don't just need to define the beginning and the end. You can put whatever you want in the middle. So here we're gonna make it go first to x1, y0, and then move to the opposite corner, which is 0, 1, x, 0, and y1. And make some mistakes. I'm gonna fix that. So now these are positions in 2-dimensional vectors, and we are gonna save this, and I want to show you how this what happened when we run this program. So we're gonna execute it. We're not doing the test 0, but the test number 1. So let's bring this here. I'm gonna make sure that it's recording. Yes. And now, so this is the old fader between 0 and 1, and the new one, which is uvect, you see that it's actually sending 3 values. 4 values, no 3, which is 0 is x, y, and z. But z we're not defining, so it appears all in 0 as 0. So let's put this in aside, and where we're gonna work now is on the shader that is gonna receive this input. So I'm gonna switch to the side, and let's open the shader. Test frag. And I'm gonna make this bigger. So here I'm gonna define the uniform. It's gonna be a vect3, and we're gonna uvect. I'm not being particularly creative with the namings, but I think it will make a point. So what I'm going to replace here is the uvec is going to be the x, because it's in the x value, and I'm going to repeat the same thing here in color. We're going to map the other one to sty uvect y, and let's make this line a little like thinner, and maybe we can only do it on the right channel. So I think this is ready. Let's save this. I'm gonna let's save and exit. We're back here, and here I'm gonna split my view. I'm gonna turn on GlslViewer, and I'm gonna run test number 1. So I will bring up my thing, and you will see now that it's like 2 red lines, and when I move this guy, it goes first to here as we said, then it's going to go to the opposite, and then it's gonna end up. So basically we are interpolating between these 4 positions, and as you can see, it's a linear interpolation. So this will give you some room, and I'm sure that your imagination now is clicking and ticking and imagining how you can use this. But before leaving, I want to bring one more type, which is the color type, and we are going to associate it with this third one. So we're gonna put again the MIDI controller aside. We're gonna actually we don't need to close this, we just need to open the shader again. We're gonna open the shader again. I'm gonna give it full screen, and this time instead of starting from the MIDI, modifying the MIDI YAML file, we'll modify the shader first, and then we're gonna modify the MIDI, the YAML file that MidiGyver use. So here this is gonna be colors are vector 4s. So we're gonna start with uniform vec4 u color, and here I'm gonna set the tone, the overall color to u color RGB. So once I save this, you will see that it's going to go black. No, it's going magenta, which is, I have an error. Let me fix this really quick. And the problem is in line number 10, I didn't finish the line properly. So let's close this. Yeah, so now it's black as we were expecting. The reason for that is, and if you type in, so this little windows up here is the one that is the console where I communicate with GLSL and if I put uniforms, it's going to tell me all the values of the uniforms, and you can see that there's a value for UVEC and there's a value for resolution, but there is no value for the U color because we are not sending it yet. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna close this tile there. I'm gonna go to the configuration file. So here we're gonna create a new type, a new event to listen. It's gonna be key number 2. So this is key number 0, key number 1, key number 2. And then I'm gonna save this as uColor, and the type here is gonna be a color. And in the map, I'm gonna ask it to basically we're gonna go between red. Now let's do black, then red, then green, and then blue. Not particularly interesting, but it will do as a show, as an example. Now green, and the last one is going to be blue. So there we have our map. Now we are gonna save. I'm gonna go back here, MidiGyver test, and now let's also run the GLSLViewer. So now the fader number 0 is not doing anything. Something happened. Is that, did I execute MidiGyver? Oh, there you go. So fader 0 is not doing anything. Fader number 1 is moving this X, and the fader number 2 is changing the background color. I think actually it will be nice if it ends up being white, but let's leave it like this for the moment. And if you remember, we still have the map. If I move this here, we still have this map in the key number 32. We will draw magenta to everything. So that's it. That's the entire this mini micro tutorial that I'm doing. Please let me know how you imagine that this will be useful for your thing. I'm excited to see what you can do with it. Bye. Thank you.